Bonjour mes amis, hi guys. About 4 years ago, I decided to specialize in epidemiology, but right now I'm switching my focus of expertise into international trade and tariffs. Tariffs on, tariffs off, tariffs post, tariffs for you, but not you if you come and beg at the court of President Trump. I'm not for or against Trump, and I think everybody, Republicans and Democrats, agree that the proper use of tariffs can be useful if you give America the right impulse to bring back manufacturers and to train people, something that can't be done overnight. So when you apply tariff to everything, to a whole country, showing absolute misunderstanding of how trade deficits work, well, you disrupt international commerce, prices soar, people lose their company, lose their jobs, trade partners stop trusting America, stock markets fall, bond markets fall, yields surge, and the huge debt of America of 36 trillion becomes more expensive to service by issuing more debt to pay for the interest of the existing debt. So I think we can all praise President Trump for being willing to reduce the debt with those tariffs. That was his big plan, but unfortunately in the real life it doesn't work like that. And there is a great analogy actually with the watch market, because Trump wants to go in-house. So few companies go fully in-house because the whole Swiss watch model is based on suppliers doing what they do best and benefiting from economies of scale. A brand like Vacheron Constantin, for example, would order every piece of the watches from different suppliers, and maybe the final finishing of the movement would be done in-house, and then they would put the logo on, and that's how Swiss watches were traditionally made. Only recently, when you get big enough, like a Rolex, a Patek, or FP Journe, or Chopard, can you verticalize production and maybe even offer your services to other clients. And this is basically how globalization works. And I totally agree that too much has been outsourced to China, and often the resulting product is of lower quality. And I wish Europe and America would bring back some of those manufacturing, and but support, of course, the industries to do so, and to train the people. Not easy, very repetitive type of work that Americans and Europeans don't want to do necessarily. But it takes time, it takes investments, and China is showing ready to fight this trade war. They've known the tough times longer than Americans have, and they're ready to fight and to make deals with the other countries, with Japan, with Korea, with Europe. Europe countries realize America maybe is not anymore the traditional partner for commerce and for military support. So it's going to get tough for America if it goes on this path. And also, these tariffs is the open road for bribes, for blatant corruption, just like any autocratic regime. But really, in practice, what would a tariff, if there is one, mean for the watch market in the US? So there's different types, right? So you have the small brands who import most of their finished products or parts from overseas, mainly from China, simply because there is no manufacturer in the US for watches. I've shown you a watch from a young watchmaker, J.S. Elliott. He wanted to have it manufactured in the US. There's almost no part of the watch that can be manufactured in the US. It will take time and investment and specializations of the workforce. So obviously big tariffs, 125% tariffs on China completely stops the activity of a small brand like that. Then you have the big brands, the Tudor, Omega, Jeju Le Cool that you buy at retail. The retail price is not taxed, I believe, at the whatever tariff, let's say 30%. I believe the importer will pay the tax. So the importer typically would pay maybe a third, 30% of the retail. So that's about, on a $10,000 watch, that's about $1,000 that will have to the cost of which will have to be passed on to the customer, or maybe taken on by the retail out of his margin, or from the importer, or maybe the brand. And brands like to have similar prices across the board in the world, so we have to see how they react to that. But that's gonna affect sales in the US, which at the moment is the biggest driver for the Swiss watch market. Now, in the case of direct to consumer online retailing, well, the consumer will have to pay the full import tax, save for brands in Switzerland like Louis Erard, which you can buy online, or macro brands from Singapore or Japan. So consumers will maybe think twice before doing that discretionary spending. Secondary prices also will be affected. Second-hand watch dealers in the US get a lot of their stocks from overseas. If it's taxed heavily, they will have to rely more on the US customer base to source watches. So there will be less watches available. Prices will go up within the US, and there will be more watches available outside of the US. That's the way I see the impact on the watch market. Obviously, the situation can change any day, in a month, or in a year. Who knows? But I think the break in confidence is there. China is willing to fight the fight, and a few days ago they basically said that they are not going to protect the IP, intellectual properties anymore. And we already see crazy videos on TikTok, local manufacturers showing that they're the ones doing the whole work, and final stamp is done with made in Italy, made in USA, or Swiss made back in those countries. And so yeah, it could be a free-for-all, and well, maybe we'll get equivalent goods at a much better price outside of the USA, at least. It's gonna be interesting to see what goes on. Maybe some opportunities and a lot of pain at the same time, and altogether all those tariffs could disappear. Who knows? Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. And yeah, if you're in Europe, if you're in China, you're quite used to tariffs already, right? The euro has the VAT. 21%. You sell anything to Europe, it's not an import tax, but it acts the same way. Just everything is more expensive in Europe, so it's not that different from there. When I sell a watch, for example, I barely ever sell it to somebody in Europe, because it's going to get taxed on the way in. Same in China. A lot of Chinese come to Hong Kong to buy a watch, and then they dump the box and sometimes the papers away, because the tax on luxury there goes from 10 to 50%. So it's not like the end of the world. It just reshapes things. It's just the way it is applied. It has been presented that is very extreme. I think targeted tariffs make sense if you have a strong plan to develop the manufacture and to support it onshore. All right, guys, let me know what you think about all this, and I'll speak to you soon, and all the best. Bye-bye.